Okay, hello again, and you join me for another episode. Um, I've got an article here, and uh, it's not pleasant. So, um, just prepare to be kind of grossly horrified. Okay, it's called LSD and the silver market. Right. So, while I've been at home during the lockdown and the corona crisis, I've decided to look into the silver market because I was worried about any financial crash, and I thought it was. So, excuse my bad reading as well, but uh, hopefully, yeah, you'll get. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, good start. So, I was looking into the silver market because I was worried about any financial crash, and I thought it was respectively good price. Um, Then I saw that silver had actually dropped a good amount from £14 to £10. Um, and all of the solid silver was out of stock. Now, though I didn't buy at the time, I would have made 40p on the pound in a matter of months. So that's something in itself, isn't it? Anyway, at the time, this took me into a bit of a history lesson on the UK finances. And yeah, prepare to be shocked and horrified. Right. Now, you might be thinking, what's LSD got to do with silver? Right? No, this isn't some crazy well, it is crazy rich people conspiracies drinking the blood of the poor people. But no, it's not adrenochrome and it's not LSD like the drug. It means lira, sterling, denare or something. It's like Latin. So the pound symbol, I always thought it looked like an E, but apparently it's actually an L. So it's LSD. So anyway, um, and the D's means penny. Uh, so at the time, it took me on to this history lesson about UK finances. Prepare to be shocked and horrified. Now, this might be quite obvious to people if you're American, but Great British Pound is actually based in silver pounds and not gold. That's why it's called sterling. And obviously in America, you've got the silver dollar and stuff, so you might realize that a bit easier. But 100 years ago, right, the coins were run out of silver, 97% sterling silver. You had silver crowns, shillings, and even sixpence was made of silver. Um, at the time, a week's worth for a woman would be about an ounce of silver, and um, despite the fact it would basically have all went on your rent, similarly somehow to today, you might be looking at a room for that money. But that money otherwise would actually have gone a fair way to get you a good amount of food and stuff for a lot less, funny enough, than what it costs today. And so already you might be thinking, can we actually be worse off than 100 years ago? But hold on to that thought because it gets worse. This money was worth 10% more in its application than scrap value. You might think that would make sense, obviously, because otherwise people would just melt the coins, wouldn't they? So it's worth 10% more in its application than scrap value. But then come times of the war, they had to scrap a lot of silver, you see. What they use the silver for, I'm not really sure of, but apparently they started scrapping in all the silver. But yeah, if you know that, you can tell me what it was used for. Apparently uranium bombs or something, but I don't know how often they use uranium bombs. Anyway, so they start scrapping in all the silver, and they reduce the amount in the coins from 97% to 50%, and then later on they reduced it to none. So at this point, I don't know what the difference between the scrap value of the coin is to the 50% or obviously none, because I don't even know if you would have really been able to buy silver at that point because they would have been using it in the war. But then after the war, the silver didn't return back into the coins at all. And then come to 1971, they decimalized the coins and they changed it to the new penny. So by 71, when decimalization came around, 1 shilling is now worth 5 new pence. So 5 pence is worth 1 shilling. And an ounce of silver you could have bought on the silver market for 50p, right? So that was 2 times the coin. The new coins were worth 2 times less in scrap value to what they would have been, if they were still made of silver. So, already we're at quite a loss there, right? That was at 50p an ounce. By this point, England should have long recovered from the war, since technology should have vastly improved everyone's lives. Well, it hadn't, apparently. Now, today, or at the time I was writing this, which was when the corona crash was, silver was worth £10 on the ounce. And we're 50 times worse off in Great British pounds than sterling in scrap value. At the time, you see people, all the time you see people on the markets, they say buy low, sell high. But they're actually losing the country an unbelievable amount of money when they do this. And you're getting even more worse off. And you are getting worse off even as people aren't. Oh yeah, and they're not making it. They don't make anything. They just basically rob the people who are making stuff. Now let me ask you, why would anyone want to buy anything that's more expensive? Really? Anyone? Anything than there should be. Anyway, so let's say you have some money saved from the 80s, right, to today. It would be worth 3.5 times less face value from the 70s, from 71, right? But from the 80s to now, it'd be 46.5 times less. And the 80s wasn't that long ago. The 80s to the thousands is the same distance as from today to the 2000s. So if you had any money saved from the 80s, it would be worth 2 pennies for every pound you had saved. And that's not just your inheritance, but that's your older brother's job, that's your parents' job, that's all your family, everyone between. That's not a long time. That's like 40 years ago. All that money just fucking gone. Now, this is where it gets even worse. So take a breath and just give a moment to recuperate, all right, and let the blood get back into your face, because this is just coin value. This isn't to mention that the price of everything since the 80s alone has gone up by 10 times as much in places. Population has risen by 26 million since the baby boom. That's, I can't see this figure. I think that's like 1.6 times as many people in the UK. And somehow we seem to know each other less, which is a shame, honestly. To make matters even worse, on top of that, say you're lucky enough to even get on benefits these days, right? Benefits have only risen by £5 since the 80s. And how that matches any figure, I will never know. That means you're getting paid 1% more of what you should be getting paid to relate to inflation. And they wonder why people die on the streets and sell drugs. Right. Last night, well, at the time of writing, silver went up from £10 to £12.50. Now, £2.50 might not seem like a lot to you, but that's in fact a greater loss over one night than between all of the years of 1920 to 1998 combined. Today, silver is up to the price back to £14 again. So what do we make of money now? And what do you think of these financial geniuses who are apparently running the country, who have been losing us more money consistently from the 50s onwards? And they don't make anything. They don't make anything. So how can they actually be business enthusiasts or whatever? Strangely as well, silver in its application has been known to fight viruses, cancer, and has even been said to be potentially a cure for the coronavirus. And I ask you, if we aren't using it, then why is it too expensive for the NHS to be using an application and potentially saving people's lives? Because if it's not in the coins, where is it? And that's silver. So I've got a graph, and I'll probably put the graph up, and you can check all of these points. And honestly, I think you should, because it did take me a while to sort of research all this stuff, but just the more and more I found out about it, I was just disturbed, honestly. And then you turn on the TV and you see they're trying to sell coins, commemorative coins, for more money than they're worth. And then in 10 years down the line, they'll tell you that not only is the coin physically worthless, but it's also monetarily worthless. This is the world we're living in. It's fucking disgusting. And it is a spit in the face to generations and generations of families who have just... I'm not even going to go into work as well, but that's just silver. That's just the price of silver. That's the value of the coin, and also the prices of everything, the price of living.